The final community day of 2022 is just around the corner, and today I want to run through some event details and all the tips for this event. Let's get right into it. So December community day is a 2-day event going down December 17th and December 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. both days. So it's gonna be a total of 6 hours of gameplay, 3 hours each day. During both of these timeframes, you will have access to 2 times catch XP, 2 times catch Stardust, half egg incubator distance, 2 times catch candy, 2 times chance of getting an XL candy if you're above level 31, 3-hour lure modules, 3-hour incenses, 1 extra special trade per day, and trades require 50% less Stardust. Note the trade bonuses are going down from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. both days. Okay, how does this all work? The last year of Community Day Pokemon, the 2022 Community Day Pokemon are going to be all spawning in the wild, but they're going to be split up over both days. From 2 to 5 p.m. on the Saturday, we're going to have Sandshrew, Alolan Sandshrew, Alolan Geodude, Hoppip, Spheal, and Stuffle all spawning in the wild. Then on the Sunday, we're going to have Teddiursa, Galarian Zigzagoon, Starly, Roggenrola, Litwick, and Dino all spawning in the wild. Finally, on either days, we will have the Community Day Classic Pokemon, including Bulbasaur, Dratini, and Mudkip spawning in the wild. Note, all of these wild spawns will have a 1 in 25 shiny odds, so if you miss any shinies or any community days during this year, make sure you go out on the right day to try to find that one. However, that's not all the Pokemon being featured. The 2021 Community Day Pokemon, which was all of last year's Community Day Pokemon, are going to be featured, but only in 2-kilometer eggs and in 1-star raids. In 1-star raids, we will have Machop, Eevee, Roselia, Swablu, Duskull, Shinx, Gible, Snivy, Tepig, Oshawott, and Fletchling. And then in the 2-kilometer eggs, we're going to have Machop, Eevee, Swablu, Duskull, Shinx, Badoo, Gible, Snivy, Tepig, Oshawott, and Fletchling. So yeah, if you want the 2021 Community Pokemon, you're gonna have to spend some money on raid passes or incubators, as they're not gonna be spawned in the wild. Shiny rates, by the way, for the 2021 Community Pokemon are usually not 1 in 25. My guess is 1 in 64, but it's kind of hard to tell at this point, so just know that they're not gonna be that common. Now, the big part of this Community Day is going to be the legacy moves. From 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on both Saturday and Sunday, you can evolve all of the past 2021 and 2022 Community Pokemon into their final forms to get legacy moves. That includes Venusaur with Frenzy Plant, Sandslash with Night Slash, Alolan Sandslash with Shadow Claw, Machamp with Payback, Alolan Golem with Rollout, Vaporeon with Scald, Jolteon with Zap Cannon, Flareon with Superpower, Espeon with Shadow Ball, Umbreon with Psychic, Leafeon with Bullet Seed, Glaceon with Water Pulse, Sylveon with Psyshock, Dragonite with Draco Meteor, Jumpluff with Acrobatics, Swampert with Hydro Cannon, Altaria with Moonblast, Walrein with both Powder Snow and Icicle Spear, Staraptor with Gust, Luxray with Psychic Fangs, Roserade with both Weather Ball Fire and Bullet Seed, Garchomp with Earth Power, Dusknoir with Shadow Ball, Superior with Frenzy Plant, Emboar with Blast Burn, Samurott with Hydro Cannon, Gigalith with Meteor Beam, Chandelure with Poltergeist, Hydreigon with Brutal Swing, Talonflame with Incinerate, Bewear with Drain Punch, Obstagoon with Obstruct, and Ursaluna with High Horsepower. Yes, that is a lot of legacy moves. All you gotta do is evolve the Pokemon into their final forms and they will get their legacy moves. Note, you cannot use a regular charge sham during the community to get these legacy moves. It's only via evolution. And if you have a Shadow Pokemon that knows the move Frustration and you evolve it into their final form, they will not get the legacy move. Frustration will block the teaching of those legacy moves, and no double moving does not allow you to get the legacy move on Shadow Pokemon. Unless you have a Shadow Pokemon without the move Frustration, you cannot get the legacy move. Finally, there will be a $1 special research story in the shop, of course, which you can buy and gift to your friends. It just gets you some extra items, encounters, all that stuff. We will have timed research and field research during the event, and finally stickers you can get from spinning Pokestops, opening gifts, and purchase them in the in-game shop. Okay, that is all the details, guys. I want to hop right into the tips because there's a lot of them, starting with the 100% IVs for all of the wild spawns during this community. Different CP values can lead to 100% IVs, and specifically we can find out the 100% IV from research for a Pokemon in non-weather boosted conditions and a Pokemon in weather boosted conditions. Let's get through it. I'm going to try to go through these quick because there's a lot of them. Sandslash's 100% IV from research is going to be 450. So if you see a Sandslash from research, that's the hundo. Then in non-weather boosted conditions, it's going to be 1081 CP, and then in weather boost, it's going to be 1171. Alolan Sandslash is going to be 554 in research, 1108 in non-weather boost, and 1201 in weather boost. Alolan Geodude is going to be 554 in research, 1108 in non-weather boosted, and 1201 in weather boosted. Hoppip is going to be 257 in research, 514 in non-weather boosted, 557 in weather boost. Spheal is going to be 412 in research, 825 in non-weather boosted, and 893 in weather boosted. Stuffle is going to be 579 in research, 1159 in non-weather boost, and 1256 in weather boost. Teddiursa is going to be 569 in research, 1138 in non-weather boosted, and 1233 in weather boost. Galarian Zigzagoon is going to be 1218 in research, 435 in non-weather boosted, and 472 in weather boost. Starly is going to be 308 in research, 616 in non-weather boosted, and 667 in weather boost. Roggenrola will be 516 in research, 1032 in non-weather boosted, and 1118 in weather boost. Litwick is going to be 431 in research, 863 in non-weather boosted, and 934 in weather boosted. Dino is going to be 455 in research, 910 in non-weather boosted, and 986 in weather boost. Bulbasaur will be 477 in research, 955 in non-weather boosted, and 1035 in weather boost. Dratini will be 430 in research, 861 in non-weather boost, and 933 in weather boost. And Mudkip will be 483 in research, 967 in non-weather boosted, and 1047 in research. I know that's a lot of them, so just mark down the ones you actually care about. Things like Dino, you'll want to remember the 100% IVs, and you can also just search it up online on Pokemon Go Hub. They have all the values there. Also, if you want to know the rank 1 PvP IVs, because if you don't know, you want low attack, high defense, high stamina in PvP for your PvP Pokemon, you can come to the website I will link below called stadiumgaming.gg/rank checker. If there's any Pokemon, for example, Swampert, which is obviously a meta relevant Pokemon, you want to know what the best IVs of Mudkips to keep for a Swampert in the Great League, you can come to this website. It breaks them down. For example, rank 1 best PvP IVs for a Swampert is going to be a 0-14-14 PvP IV. You can even check the Ultra League, and you can put in any Pokemon that's going to be spawning or available during the community day if you're worried about that. I'm not going to go through every single one because that's going to take forever, so just come search up yourself. The website will be linked below. With that out of the way, I'm sure everyone is asking what actually are the good Pokemon to get during this community day. We have a total of, 27 Pokemon available and their evolutions. So I want to go through what are going to be meta relevant where. Let's get into it, starting with the wild spawns. Okay, based on the wild spawns, we're going to have Alolan Sandshrew, which evolves into Alolan Sandslash. Alolan Sandslash is a pretty good Kanto Cup Pokemon, so if we do see it return in the Kanto Cup, make sure you grab one. We'll then have Hoppip, which evolves into Jumpluff. Jumpluff with Acrobatics is not a bad Great League Pokemon, especially now that Flyers are so powerful. It's going to be a great Pokemon to have. We then have Spheal evolving into Walrein. Walrein does have some play in the Great League and the Ultra League, although to get nerfed pretty hard, it is still a very, very strong Pokemon for those metas. We have Galarian Zigzagoon, which evolves all the way into Obstagoon, probably the one I'm going to be hunting the most since I kind of missed the community day I was in France. Obstagoon is good in the Great League and the Ultra League, a very strong Pokemon there, except watch out for fighters. We then have Litwick evolving into Chandelure. Chandelure is going to be a great fire and ghost type raid attacker. We then have Dino evolving all the way into Hydreigon. Hydreigon is the #1 overall dark type raid attacker in the game, definitely worth getting. And also Zweilous, the middle stage of Hydreigon, is good in the Great League. Finally, we have Bulbasaur evolving into Venusaur. Venusaur is going to be good in the Great League and in the Ultra League, as well as for the Mega form Venusaur does have. We have Dratini, which evolves into Dragonite. Dragonite is good in all 3 leagues, Great League, Ultra League, and the Master League, as well as Dragonite being a very strong Dragon type raid attacker. And finally, we have Mudkip evolving into Swampert. Swampert, again, good in all 3 leagues, as well as good for the Mega Swampert, which is actually now out in Pokemon Go and is the #1 ground and water type raid attacker. Okay, we also have some raids and eggs hatching the 2021 community Pokemon, so let's go through which ones are meta relevant there. We have Machop. Machop evolves into Machamp. Machamp is going to be good in the Great League and the Ultra League, as well as a fighting type raid attacker. We have Eevee, which can evolve into a lot of different things, but specifically Eevee into Umbreon. Umbreon is good in the Great League and in the Ultra League, as well as Eevee going into Sylveon. Sylveon is going to be good as a fairy type raid attacker. We have Swablu, which evolves into Altaria. Altaria, of course, is good in the Great League and also does have a Mega form. If you don't have a good IV one, you can get this community. We have Gible. Gible is probably the most popular one for people in raids. Gible evolves into Garchomp. Garchomp is good in the Master League. It is good as a ground, as a dragon type raid attacker, as well as good for the Mega form of Garchomp when that does come to the game. Finally, we have Fletchling, which evolves into Talonflame, and Talonflame is very good in the Great League and the Ultra League. Most of those Pokemon I mentioned, by the way, you will want their community day move on them, so make sure you evolve them during the community day to get their legacy moves, because that's what makes them strong. There's a couple exceptions, like Machamp doesn't need Payback and Dragonite doesn't need Draco Meteor, but just evolve them anyway to get their legacy moves. With the meta relevance out of the way, let's get right into some real tips, starting with how to get a lot of candy during this community day, and it's a tip I mention all the time. #1, use Pineapple Berries. Both Silver Pineapples and regular Pineapples will increase your catch candy. You can also Mega Evolve during each day, and I want to go through what Mega is going to be the best to Mega Evolve each day to get extra candy. When you Mega Evolve a Pokemon in Pokemon Go, you will get more XP, more candy, and more XL candy for catching a Pokemon that shares a type with that Mega. So you want to Mega Evolve, of course, the right Pokemon, so you get the right type of Mega Boost. During day 1, the only Mega relevant Pokemon really is like Spheal, I guess. You can evolve either an Ice type or a Water type Pokemon. I would go with Water though, because Mudkip is also spawning on that day, and Mudkip is a great one to get extra XLs for. On day 2, we're going to have Dino, Galarian Zigzagoon, and Litwick spawning. All 3 of those are good to get XL candy communities, I'm gonna go with a dark type personally, so I can get extras XLs for Galarian, Caesargoon, and Dino. But if you need extra candy for Litwick, or if you just want to Mega Evolve maybe for Dratini, which is spawning both days, you can Mega Evolve a Ghost or Fire type for the Litwick, or a Dragon type for Dratini. It really depends on what you're going for and what Pokemon you want the most XLs for, but those are some of the standout ones that I would really focus on getting extra XL. Finally, you can trade after Community Day. It is the season of Mythical Wishes, which means every time you trade away a Pokemon, you'll get an XL candy. Say you catch 100 Dinos during this Community Day, if you trade all of those away, that's 100 XL candies that you can put into a level 50 Hydreigon. So definitely save any of the valuable Pokemon you have that you catch during the Community Day and trade them after to get extra XLs. Now during the Community Day, you do have 2x catch Stardust and 2x catch XP. So this is a great chance to go ahead and pop some lucky eggs and some star pieces to take advantage of these bonuses. Personally, if you are very limited on these items, this is not the best day to do them and you're better off saving them for 3x catch XP or Stardust, but don't be fooled, this Community Day is an amazing time to grind a lot of Stardust, XP, candy. The bonuses are going crazy during this Community Day. Remember, if you hit an X and throw during 2x catch XP with a lucky egg, that's 4,000 XP. So if you want to level up, like just go ahead, pop a lucky egg, throw some X and throws during this Community Day. There's actually going to be a lot of easy X and throw Pokemon like Spheal in the wild as well and Starly, so take advantage. I also do want to say be wary with the raids and the eggs. Obviously the 2021 Community Day Pokemon are only exclusive to those, but is it really worth grinding and spending a bunch of money on eggs and raids for these pretty common Pokemon? The only one I would really maybe go for would be Gibble in raids or Shinx in raids, because you could specifically raid for those Pokemon instead of going through the eggs, which has a huge egg pool and there's a small chance of you getting a Gibble. But I wouldn't spend billions of dollars on Oshawotts or Fletchlings or Machops, because those things are just so common in the wild and it just feels really bad to raid them. So maybe raid some Gibbles if you don't have a good IV one, but everything else you can kind of avoid. And that brings us to the final section of the video, Platinum Medal tips. You need 35 Platinum Medals to go from level 48 to 49 in Pokemon Go. Which ones are the best to grind? First of all, of course, we have a bunch of different types of Pokemon during the wild. So if you haven't completed all of your Platinum Medals, which require you to catch 2,500 of a certain type of Pokemon, if there's any of these you haven't completed, focus on them. I know a lot of people struggle with the Dragon type medal, while Dratini is spawning during the wild, so make sure you work on it. Of course, we have the Rising Star medal, defeat 150 species of Pokemon in raids. I know I just told you guys not to do the raids, but if you haven't completed this medal, there is technically like 11 Pokemon in raids that you could potentially put 11 points towards your Rising Star. So you haven't raided any of those Pokemon and you want to work on your Rising Star, that's the only reason I would actually raid the Pokemon. We also do have the Scientist medal, Evolve 2000 Pokemon. Roggenrola is spawning in the wild, and if you don't know, if you received a Roggenrola from trade, when you go to evolve that Roggenrola into Baldor, but then also into Gigalith, evolving into Gigalith is going to be completely free. So what you can do is get a bunch of Roggenrolas, trade them with your friend, and then pretty much make 2 evolutions for technically only 25 candies, I think it is. Good to work on this medal, you know, it's cheaper evolution. We'll also probably get some snapshots during the Community Day, even though they haven't mentioned it. So the snapshot medal, have 400 encounters and go snapshot. Make sure you do your snapshots. We have 3-hour lure modules as well, and December Community Day is usually a pretty popular Community Day. So if you haven't completed your Picnicker medal, use a lure module to help trainers catch 2,500 Pokemon. You know, drop some lures during the Community Day. People will be out, people will be catching. It's a great time to complete this medal if you haven't. And that's about it for Platinum medals. The last thing I will say, remember, have fun. I know it is December Community Day and it is a great time to, you know, try to get everything you missed during this year, but it's the end of the year, man. We had a good year of Pokemon Go. We had some fun with it, so make sure you spend some time with your friends and just have a good weekend playing this Community Day. That's gonna be it for me though. Comment below if you're gonna be playing this Community Day, or are you skipping it because you already played every single Community Day. It does feel bad for people who played all year because like there's really like, you've already caught all these Pokemon and their shinies, right? But let me know in the comment section below. We're gonna see all the next one, guys. Fall from this, everybody. Peace.